It's that exciting moment again for Spider-Man enthusiasts. I just finished watching Kraven the Hunter. In this film, we follow Aaron Taylor Johnson as Kraven, a man gifted with extraordinary strength and animalistic abilities. He is on a quest for vengeance against those who have wronged him. That's about all I can share without diving into spoilers. This will be a spoiler-free review, but once the movie is released, we'll definitely need to discuss the many surprises, including some intriguing Spider-Man lore and Easter eggs that caught me off guard. I can hardly believe we're doing this for the third time in 2024. We kicked off the year with Madam Web, followed by Venom: The Last Dance, and now we're at Kraven the Hunter. I never imagined I would witness a reality where Sony is producing spin-off Spider-Man films that are completely unrelated to Spider-Man, let alone releasing 3 in a single year. Life is truly unpredictable. I've been open about my lack of enthusiasm for Sony's spin-offs. However, whenever a new one is announced, or a trailer drops, or the marketing kicks in, I find myself hoping for some entertainment. I just want to experience some fun. I don't want to be the person ranting alone in front of a camera, especially knowing there are fans who genuinely enjoy these films. I wish I could feel included in that enjoyment. With Kraven the Hunter, I thought it had the potential to change my mind, especially with its R rating promising some intense, bloody action. I went in hoping I could come out saying, "This is the best Spider-Man spin-off yet." Instead, I honestly don't know if this is better or worse than Morbius and Madam Web. Yes, that bad. I'm going to get into the good, and I'm going to get into the bad. Look, if you're primarily interested in the action sequences and the R-rated thrills this film provides, you'll find those moments to be quite enjoyable. Although I believe the choreography and editing could have been improved for a better viewing experience, when those action scenes unfold, I was fully engaged and genuinely having a blast. Aaron Taylor Johnson shines as Kraven the Hunter. Kraven is surprisingly charismatic, exhibiting a level of politeness and a good-hearted nature that you wouldn't typically expect from a villain-centric film. I'll get into that in a sec. As for the action scenes, they are indeed entertaining. The film grants Kraven a unique ability that makes you think, I would definitely watch a superhero movie featuring a character with these animal-like super strength powers. It's akin to having the Captain America super soldier serum, but with the agility of an animal. Throughout the film, you witness how these powers come in handy in the most unexpected scenarios. Without a doubt, the action is the highlight of the movie. The other small positive I can highlight about this film is the abundance of random Spider-Man Easter eggs sprinkled throughout. The trailer showcased a variety of Spider-Man characters, including Kraven, the Chameleon, and even the Rhino. The way these characters are woven into the story, along with nods to the comics that will make Spider-Man fans exclaim, "Wow, they actually included that," adds a fun element to the experience. However, it's wise to keep your expectations in check regarding any deeper Spider-Man connections. Now, that wraps up the positives. Unfortunately, I don't have much else to praise about this movie. So, let's dive into the negatives. Where should I even start? Let's begin by discussing the cast. The lineup for Kraven the Hunter is impressive, showcasing a talented group of actors. This highlights one of the unfortunate aspects of the Spider-Man spin-off films. Sony consistently brings in real talent. I would love to see these actors in actual Spider-Man films. Take Aaron Taylor Johnson, for instance. I never envisioned him as Kraven, but if you told me he was taking on that role in the next Tom Holland Spider-Man film, I would be thrilled. In this film, you have a roster that includes Aaron Taylor Johnson, Russell Crowe, Ariana DeBose, Christopher Abbott, and Fred Heckinger. These are performers I've seen deliver Oscar-worthy performances, and I know they possess genuine talent. Unfortunately, the script and dialogue in Kraven the Hunter do not do justice to their abilities. When characters engage in dialogue or when plot elements are unveiled, it can be quite painful.
You're a goddamn lunatic.
Oh, you just figured that out now?
This is unfortunate, as the burden falls on the actors who are simply trying to make the most of the material they have. Personally, I'm not particularly fond of Sony's approach to transforming clear villains into anti-heroes or sympathetic figures. From the trailers, I expected Kraven to be an irredeemable villain, especially after seeing him set bear traps on people's faces and bite noses. To be honest, Kraven might just be the most virtuous character among all the Spider-Man spin-offs. This is a man with manners. He says please and thank you, He's charismatic, he's sweet, he's charming, he's kind, and a devoted older brother. They're the kind of people you actually want to see eliminated, as he operates with a moral compass in this film. He specifically goes after poachers, criminals, and gangsters because he has a hatred for criminals. And I can't help but think, wow, a criminal who hates other criminals? Well done, Sony. I fully support the idea of superhero movies reinterpreting characters and altering their origins. The MCU has done it plenty of times. You don't have to be the exact character from the comics. But when you stray so far from the original motivations, the idea, and essence of the character, it raises the question, what's the purpose of the adaptation? There's a compelling argument that Russell Crowe's character embodies the true essence of Kraven. His dialogue and demeanor align much more closely with the classic Kraven the Hunter than Aaron Taylor Johnson's portrayal. Yet, for some viewers, this may not be a concern, as Aaron brings charisma and enjoyment to the role, which is what many prioritize. As for the storyline, it's quite chaotic and takes a considerable time to gain momentum. During the first half of the film, I found myself wondering, what's the direction here? What's the significance of all this? Why are we even watching? I anticipate that many viewers will share this sentiment during the initial act. When we really focus on young Kraven the Hunter, I was baffled by the origin story approach they took for Kraven here. I'll delve into more details in my spoiler review, but witnessing young Kraven acquire his powers through a montage reminiscent of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man transformation was such a funny way to go about telling the origin of Kraven the Hunter. This makes up a significant portion of the film's first act. At one point, I genuinely believed that half of the movie would revolve around young Kraven, due to the extensive backstory provided. This slow beginning might lead viewers to think, come on, just bring in Aaron Taylor Johnson already. That kind of feeling lasts throughout the movie. Whenever Aaron Taylor Johnson isn't on screen as Kraven, the plot loses its appeal. You just could not care less about whatever is going on in the movie. While the second half does ramp up with more excitement and action, that final battle involving the Rhino, it ultimately feels quite disappointing. Not only is it filled with terrible CGI, but it makes a lot of sense. Remember, this movie was supposed to release a year ago, last October. The rumor is that the release was postponed to incorporate the climactic battle with Rhino, which wasn't included in the initial cut. You can tell, because the effects in this Kraven and Rhino battle are so rushed and poorly done. Interestingly, I think the Rhino character is so poorly crafted. Throughout the movie, Alessandro Nivola plays Rhino, and he fully embraces the role. You can see he's the one actor genuinely attempting to salvage the dreadful script, delivering a series of quirky and silly moments. I must admit, many of these scenes had me chuckling. Not because they were well executed, but because they brought a sense of fun to the experience. Once again, Sony has managed to mislead many Spider-Man enthusiasts. However, the tide is turning as audiences are becoming more aware. This film is projected to have a lackluster opening. Fans are now recognizing the pattern of what Sony offers with these spin-off films, and they are reluctant to keep spending their money on them. That said, I know there are still plenty of devoted Spider-Man fans who, despite all the warnings I've shared about this movie, will show up on opening weekend. I genuinely hope you find some enjoyment in it. I had a few laughs and appreciated some impressive action sequences, but ultimately, this feels like just another letdown from Sony's spin-off lineup. When it comes to Kraven the Hunter, in action I'll give it 3.5 stars. The increased bloodshed adds to the entertainment value. I do wish there were more action scenes, and that they were better executed. However, I must admit, Kraven's abilities, while not entirely true to the comics, were quite enjoyable to watch. In comedy, I'll give it 2.5 stars. Much of the humor falls short, but the unintentional, quirky moments are bound to create some fantastic memes online. I'm looking forward to this film being available digitally. In drama, I'll give it 2 stars. I found it hard to engage with the storyline. The film doesn't really find its direction until past the halfway point, leaving it feeling aimless as it struggles to establish Kraven's origin. When the action isn't present, it's tough to invest in the narrative. In horror, I'll give it 1.5 stars. While there are a few graphic scenes and a couple of shocking kills, they occur so rapidly that the tension and chaos are lost. In suspense, I'll give it 1 star. The plot fails to captivate me, and I struggled to connect with many of the characters. You likely won't find yourself invested in what unfolds on screen. While I don't consider Kraven the Hunter to be the worst of Sony's Spider-Man spin-off films, it certainly has numerous flaws that prevent it from being as enjoyable as many had anticipated. This is simply my perspective on the film. I understand that some viewers may still find satisfaction in it, particularly due to the exciting action sequences. However, I encourage you to assess the film as a whole and determine whether it truly feels cohesive. There are no post-credit scenes, but the conclusion hints at a potential sequel, which we can discuss in the spoiler section. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Kraven the Hunter if you've had a chance to see it. If you're planning to watch it, I commend you for that. Form your own opinions, and you might just be among those who enjoy the film. Don't forget to like and subscribe. As always, I'm Andrew. Take care.